Welcome back to the Fantasy Take TV podcast. We're here to review round 14 and look ahead to round 15, which somehow is still one of two bye rounds left. So, the bye rounds are still going, George, but there's still a lot of weeks left. We've been saying it. There's a lot of runway left to the end of the season, and not about you, but my trades are getting low, and I'm still going to be using them. Probably going to go down to bloody one at this point, but you want to enjoy the run home, George, and that's the way I'm taking it this year, especially when the rank's probably not going to end up too pretty. So
That sounds
we'll
like
touch
you're
on that.
trending in forward.
Yeah, everyone's doing it, it seems, so maybe it won't be that bad. News we'll touch on. Obviously, we got injury news on Tuesday and some other things with that. We've got some questions to answer. We're going to look at maybe some top liners we want to, the best run home. Who do we want to, own in each position on the run home? Who are we scared of probably not going to own? Some rookies, a big one there we'll talk about, and a couple others. Some targets, obviously, off their bye and for the rest of the season. And then, that's about it, George. We'll create a bit of what we can, but it's that time of year, as I said, that's sort of seeing what trades you got left to make and just running the gauntlet all the way home, mate. So how'd you go this week?
I don't care how I went. This is rubbish. Team's a piece of shit and I hate all of them. I like Andy. I like Sheasel because he's in position. I like Rosie. Strong tries, Merritt tries, Baz we all have. The rest of them, and Sherry, the rest of them can piss off. Rowan Marshall is my captain in fantasy. Negative 50 ratio. He's averaging 74 in my team. Cordwell's been good. Dunkley, why don't you just request a trade to the Dogs if you want to play key forward? So that's a problem. Nick's going to get tagged this week. Butters might get tagged, but I think most of us have him. And McKercher, tell you what, if only this was a summer sport. Anyway, I scored 1980-something. Not great. And that was with a McCarthy 133. Too many antipods that are... Can't watch games, man, because every team has a player that I need to have, and I don't have any of them. So I don't have any of the top 7 defenders, but enough whinging for now. I'll let it out of my system. MVP can go to Sarong, 142. So first real good score from him in 3 months.
Did you think you'd ever be saying that? MVP, Sarong?
Yeah. He's been trying. Like, I don't have a problem. Like, he hasn't been scoring. The clearances are there, contestables there. For whatever reason, if it's efficiency, it's outside. But one of the two seems to not marry up every week. And finally, it all clicked this week. So it was against North. But we'll take that. And I'm fine with him. Like, I'm not expecting him to be top 8 based on what we've seen this year. But for him to do that is good. Fault of the week. Where do I start? I think it has to go to Rowan, mate. Negative 50 ratio, seriously. And this can happen with Rowan. He's a better DT scorer. And, he is not the tallest ruck out there. So it's a bit of a battle. And Dogs mids do shark him. But my goodness, how many points are we losing to TDK and Gorn every week? I don't want to know. So I'm hoping he can, if he can get within 10 of Gorn on the way home, which sounds stupid, but did it last year. That would be great. And TDK's run, who's he got this week? Sherry. So hopefully some relief there. And I don't know which other rucks people even have. Like maybe a Darcy Cameron. I don't know. But look, I think Rowan's post-buy is genuinely been pretty good. It's just, the timing of getting him was couldn't have been worse, which we kind of knew. Anyway, how did you go?
I think I should have checked before we started, but might be my best week of the year. Is it round rank? No, I had another good one. So how many rounds is that, George? 14, and I've had probably 2, maybe 3 really good weeks, and this was one of them. 600th for the week with the 2189, and it involved a lot of luck. I am not going to sit here and deny that. T-Mac 130 is pretty hilarious, but also to have Carroll on field for an 80, which was completely out of nowhere as well. Like, that's just like that. You need that in these buy rounds where, like when we get a bad score like Petraka 68, or I know a lot had Bond. I don't have him, but when you get those low scores from premiums, I had McKercher 60. Like to get them off, they didn't count. Probably for a lot of people, but the fact that it wasn't like just another rookie 60, the fact that T-Mac gets 130 and counts, and then Carroll gets an 80, it's an extra few points, but I don't know. We just more like the random pods that I've been having for weeks just keep clicking. Like I know Max Holmes is highly owned now, but another 150 from him. I don't know what it is the last 4 or 5 weeks, but he's just been going berserk. Eddie Richards, like maybe he just is a top 8 mid like now, like from now on, averaging 115 for the year. Since I've had him, it's probably 120, 125. I don't even know. So wrong, as you said, finally not pulled his finger out, as you said, he's been trying all year, but finally we got a really good score from him. And who else? I guess Horn Francis. I looked at his ownership during the game, thinking, good score. He's going well, but it won't be that big. But I guess he's only at 20% or something in the top 5%, so plenty traded him out. But we'll get to him as well with the injury news. See what's happening there. MVP. I mean, maybe it goes to Holmes again. I was very close to VCing him after missing the 150 last week. And I took it off him and put on Ed Richards just before that. What was it, Friday night game? I'm like, I need something to cheer for here. There's a lot of plays in that game. I'm like, we'll just stick it on Eddie. And he just didn't even get a heap. Like, got 25 in the end, I think. But I don't know. Dogs are so potent. If they win a game like that, I feel like Eddie's always getting. And we've been saying it with, like, that's probably why Sarong's struggling. Not struggling, but with his scoring, because he's not getting that forward half, like forward 50, goal assists, inside 50 type scores. He's just battling away, getting, clearance after clearance. But Eddie gets both. Like, he's leading the league in goal assists, and when Dogs are winning like that, he's always, I feel like, going to score pretty well. So Dogs have got a good run coming up. And obviously, Bont getting the tag, obviously, that helps too. Like, it'd probably come for Eddie eventually. But yeah, maybe though, Holmes or Eddie get the MVP. And Fault, I mean, Track's probably gone under the radar. I know everyone's like jumped on him at the right time, however many weeks ago that was, but he's sort of just chugging along at the minute. You get a good score here, then an average one. So he's still averaging under 100 for the year. I don't know. Most of us missed all of his average scores to start the year, so he's probably still doing 100 and low hundreds for us in our team. But I don't know with Track, just because he's been cooking, and I don't know, Clary's.
Did he play forward this week?
I think it was a bit more. He got a bit of did he get attention from Bergman? So look, I'll probably it's probably a bit harsh, but he probably has to get it. Him or Rankin, I guess. Could be McKercher, but I don't think he's just not going to score in a game like that. And he did have a few shit kicks to start, and it probably just cooked him for the rest of the game. And hopefully North aren't playing outside in the wet too many more times. Or it's just, I think he'll be fine, Kirch, but we will speak on him in a bit. I mean, my main thing was that choice last week, Jaws. It was Caldwell. I was like, I want a Carlton mid. Is it Hewitt? But he's a bit, 100K difference between him and Caldwell last week. And then I'm like, I settled for Walsh, sort of still get it's like the halfway in between. I'm still getting a Carlton mid, but I'm paying a bit more than what Caldwell was because, that buy isn't great for a lot of people. It's all right for me, but I don't know. I taught myself out of Caldwell being like, oh, he's pretty injury prone and blah, blah, blah. But so is Walsh anyway. And sure enough, 1 week, 5 days later after trading him in, Walsh is out for 4 to 5 weeks. So I had to trade him back out. And I was trading Matty Roberts out until that news came out. So my team is a bit weird now. I'm still needing that last midfielder, but I've got 7 defenders. What did I do? Well, Butters. I was always getting Butters and always getting McKercher. All I did was swap Matty Roberts back in for Walsh. So I was sort of put myself down 1 premium again, but obviously it didn't matter too much. So I've kind of been getting through these buys like the week before, 7 premiums out, scrape by, sort of held rank, and then this week. It could have been even better if Walsh played, but he's out. So if I was it's all about, can I afford my last, like I'm getting my last player this week and I can just afford him. So it was like, if I got Hewitt and spent that extra 40, 50K week before, I'd be probably struggling. So it still was, maybe Caldwell was the right call in the end to try to get through that buy and have a bit more money as well. But Hewitt great pickup for people who went this week, and we'll probably talk about him for targets in a bit as well for this week. So we're going all right, George. Like I'm 3K rank. What are you, 2K? It's just going to be a whatever rank end of the year, isn't it? It's not doesn't really matter
gone
too
down
much.
every week, mate.
But yeah, neither of us are going red hot, but we're not going to have like a horror season either. But it feels like a horror season when you're not like around the top 1K or triple digit
Car
rank,
crash.
and it's just like whatever. But it is what it is, mate. Just enjoy the last 9 weeks. Maybe just enjoy the footy, mate. If you, I love how you say you can't watch games because you don't own players. Just watch the footy, mate. Come on, like it's, it doesn't matter too much. Like you said, if your players aren't going well, try and enjoy the footy. But news, mate. What do we got?
Yeah. Also, I forgot to mention my trades. I brought in McKercher, Butters, and Clark. But anyway,
very, very common
news. So, big one is Horn Francis is a test expected to be available. I think you showed footage of him in Discord a few minutes ago. About he was kind of cradling his shoulder a bit, doing drills, maybe just protecting it. But they expect him to be available. So that's an interesting one. 130 break even. I want him because he's been a terrible, awful antipod all year. Like there's been no bad games with him except for the injury game. So that's one I probably will wait one more on with the high break even and it is probably fine. But anyway, Sam Taylor's out for 4 to 6. I think Seb posted that Whitfield scores like 10 to 15 points more a game without Sam Taylor. Now, whether that's, I don't know the sample of that is, but that's not good if you don't have Whitfield. It can only mean good or neutral. Walsh is out for 4 to 5. Essendon will get a few defenders back in Reid, Ridley, and Redmond. Triple R. So that's after their bye in 2 weeks. Vigo Vicentini will debut. So obviously Goldie's got the 5-day break, and he's the rookie ruckman for Essendon. Cooper Simpson's 5 to 6 weeks. So a lot of us just have him dead on the bench. So if we run out of trades and he comes back and gives us 70s, and that could be relevant, but ideally it doesn't happen. SDK's out 4 to 5. Briggs is 1 week away. So those that have Madden, like does he hold over Briggs? So yeah, Briggs does have the bye, but yeah, after the bye. Sicily's still to beat TBC, so maybe that helps Amon. A lot of us have Campbell Gray. He's TBC, so no timeline there. Philippus a test for anyone who held him, which I doubt, so not really relevant at the moment. And then Gordon and Papley are a test, so maybe some City rookies could get dropped. And Errol, what happens to the CBA mix? Does Mills get mid-time? Does Sheldrick get his mid-time still? Probably the main 2 relevant ones there. If you have Heaney and Warner, what does that mean for their mid-time? Yeah, it's
flow on effect. We'll have to wait and see. So
I almost don't want any City players, to be honest.
Nah, me either. No.
I guess we'll see.
Besides our man Shelley, we'll see. What happens. Like you said, we'll see what happens. But he might cop. Yeah, cop of who knows? Could be dead and buried.
I think
straight away. You think they give him a go, but
they lack the ability to win first possession. I think, especially that grand final, they got slaughtered. And it's been an issue for them all year. So I think he's one that can do that and dish it out. So I think they're happy enough with him. So I think he'll stay in there. It's just what does the CBAs look like if they want to put Mills and Gordon in there? Yeah, there's like 8-9 names going through there if you add Mills and Gordon. But Mills defense at the moment. All right, that's the news for injuries. Now, question from maybe one for you. Would you rather use 2 trades to fix 2 premiums, so to get 2 better premiums, or run a McCarthy as your 23rd, or I don't know, Sheldrick if you got it, like run like a weaker 23rd?
Yep, I was literally
Would you rather 23? Yeah, what do you think?
Before the pod, basically my team. I don't know if I'd be the same if I didn't have to trade out Walsh and I sort of still had what I was meant to have. So like my team now is literally 7. Like my 23rd is my M8 essentially because I've got Kirch at flex, I got Robert still at D6. So they're my like sort of it's not great result, but that's the way it's gone because I sort of had to do that last week. So Sheldrick's my M8 and then McCarthy obviously M9. Like they're my sort of like I'm just treating that as my flex. I was gonna treat my F6 as my flex probably.
The way Warner and Rankin are
before that.
going, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, so I was gonna, but I guess now that McCarthy, look, don't expect this the rest of the year, but he still looks like with that role, it's like what Marich had really, full kick-ins, had 10 of them, and actually looks like he got more points from actual defensive acts, spoils and mopping up, whereas I don't think Marich was doing too much of that. So, I mean, look, I have no choice. I have like 6 trades left heading into this week, having to get my last or another player, right? Which is I'm going to go for F6, I think now, just sort of due to what money I have. That was always the plan, and I just don't have enough to sort of get a cheap mid, I don't think. And plus, yeah, Shelley and sort of McCarthy can't sit at flex because I got those 7 defenders. I mean, I guess one of McKercher or one of those defenders can sit at M8 because they got EPP. I will still have to figure that out. But to answer the question, like use 2 trades to actually get that 23rd, or use 2 trades to flip. I'm going to try and I'm probably not going to use 2 trades to flip 2 primos, but I'm thinking about doing one. And the one I'm thinking is Dunks, George, just the way it's going at the minute. And I think his CBRs was still okay in the end, like 60%, but I'm just not liking it at the minute. And I've held him all year. I know you traded him in only maybe a month ago, but I don't know. We did flag this a couple of weeks ago. Even you did, probably before you traded him in. It's just the others are just doing it all this year. Like, I know Will had a down game, but Klug ain't looking like stopping. Neil's still Neil, and it's sort of like Dunks is just doing all those defensive jobs. He's had Dawson the week before, did a good job. Was on Green. Yeah, Caldwell week before was on Tom Green this week for the most part until, I don't know. Was it because they got the injury? Like Payne went down, they sent Hipwood back, and they're like,
Yeah.
now Dunks is our, second, third key forward, like at times. So I'm not loving it, but what I am loving is the fact I just flip him to George Hewitt for like 20 or 30K and ride that home because with Walsh out now, 85% CBAs in the weekend, like he's just going to get all the time in there. And he's a 115 mid, like for the year. Like that's not a joke. And I think it goes back another 6 to 8 weeks of last year, and you're getting him for 530 now because of a couple down, like a 1 down game. I think it was a 60 before the bye. Like, is it just? I don't know. It seems like a good deal to me, and I think he's going to probably put 10 points on Dunks, maybe more. Who knows on the way home? So that's the way I'm going to use one trade. I'm probably not going to flip 2 premiums because I'm so low on trades. Like I can't do another one and flip. Like as much as I'd love to flip a Roberts, it's just probably too much money to get to anyone decent at this. Like I don't have that money to get him up to. Like what would I need? I've already got Nas. I've already got. No one's around at sort of that price or within 30, 40K that's worth getting for Roberts. So I'm like kind of hamstrung. I might as well just keep him at this point and then maybe see what happens. But that's where I'm sitting. Obviously, got to depend. Like, are we happy with McCarthy being that 23rd, George? Like, is that a bit much, or is it?
Well, the VFL numbers make no sense because there's not a single game over 30 touches here. Looking at like the last 30 games.
Well, maybe Richmond VFL aren't that bad as West Coast are. And did he have a full kick-out role in the VFL? I'm not even sure. Like, it's kind of insane. It came out of nowhere. It's like, oh, wow, now he's got all the kick-outs. Like,
so I think lucky, he's like, what's realistic? Like, it's hard to know.
80, 85 is like, surely that's top.
I think that's, for me, that's like a 24th for me. I'm probably going to go the route rather than fix my donkeys.
Yeah.
Go the 23 route. I don't know what's the right one. I feel like getting rookies off this year has not been, like it's been important, but having the good premiums versus average premiums has been a significant difference, specifically in the ruck line and defense, where there's like, I think you would rather have like, you could argue you could have 3 midfield slots as defenders this year. Like the top 7 defenders, I've none of them, not one. I've got the next 4, but yeah.
Not one. Like you mean by average, is it?
Midfield, Ash, Sinclair, Nas, Zorko, Holmes. I've got none of them. I think there's one more in there too.
Ballydale.
Yeah, none of them.
I mean, I don't have Whitfield or Ash, and then Dalen's. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
So yeah, like I'm going to back Dunks in. I think Winter. He likes Winter. I know there's more points to go around this year, and he's plugging holes, but I think he was still on 50 at halftime, and then the roll disappeared. So, and he can still score when he plays.
Goal, George. He was on like 30, 32, like with a few minutes left and kicked that goal.
Disposals have been.
I literally said it, George. I'm like, as I'm watching the game, I'm like, Dunks took a mark on the lead in the forward. I'm like, I don't even care if he kicks this. We're cooked because like he's
Yeah.
they're gonna like is he playing forward now? I mean that's what happened. He scored 20 points the rest of the game. Like
Yeah, I want to give him another week and see where I'm at because I still think he can do 100 for the rest of the year.
Which isn't awful. I know.
Which I have worse. So I'm looking at Rankin. Rankin CBAs don't look much difference, but the guy's just sitting in the forward line rather
That's
than
what I was
rolling up
gonna
a
ask
lot
you. Is
more.
like, should this question be like, what's that worst premium that people are thinking of flipping that you would like?
Yeah.
Who are the ones you would like? Rankin everyone owns George for one, and the second thing is who are you flipping him to?
Who do you think?
That's like affordable.
Horn
Okay,
France.
Horn Francis for you. Okay, let's assume like me, I have Horn Francis, I have Rankin, Track, Bailey Smith, like Luke Jackson. Sure, do I have 100 and whatever fucking K that is? No, like
Horn France is 490K.
yes,
Luke
no, I see
Jackson's
your point with
30.
that. For you,
Yeah.
Horn Francis, no, and maybe a lot of other people, okay.
But then I'm like, well, if he's cradling the shoulder, they're going to play him forward. Like, is he going to be fine? I hate this guesswork stuff. It's just like a scare tactic to say that like they're putting
Yeah.
out that he's a tester available or he's under a cloud or whatever. I think he'll most likely, if they're playing, they most likely will be fine. I've been burnt by that in the past. I remember like Doherty, he had like a calf issue before the game and they decided to play him. He was like subbed out 5 minutes later. So sometimes you can it can happen. Like poured up history of playing players through injury. See Connor Rosie last year. I'm just gonna wait a week on that. But I'll be aiming for the 23, I think.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at who's averaging more. If Sheldrick's getting 60% CBAs and Dunkley's there, would I rather keep Sheldrick who can do 10, 15 less than Dunkley and use that 200K? Or do I just keep Dunkley? Like, I think it's a genuine question. I guess there's more security with Dunkley. That 200K, that could get me a Whitfield and a Nas down back instead of whoever. I need an upgrade there, and I'm not sure. Maybe McKerch if he tops out, but I don't know. I think I'll probably in the 23 camp because I know 1 week injuries will happen and stuff like that, and then raise the floor rather than go for the ceiling. But maybe that's just a conservative approach. It probably hasn't even worked this year, but it's an interesting one.
I just don't know if upgrading with the ranking thing is worth. I don't know. I want to talk myself into flipping dunks, but I feel like there's with who I can get because I obviously have Horn Francis, and you're saying that's a no-brainer. Like Richmond after the bye for the Crows, D's, then they have like North and West Coast back, later in the year. Like I still feel like he'll do like 95 to 100 anyway. Like yeah, it might not be pretty, but I can't get Luke Jackson, who will obviously do 15 points per game on him, probably something like that. Whereas I can literally flip Hewitt, dunks to Hewitt for not much money, and I feel like that will be like 15 points per game, and maybe even more, depending on the roll dunks. But I don't know. I feel like the forward line this year, it's a bit like, and again, I guess Nick Martin's probably the other one. People, if they want to flip Rankin to someone, it's him. But like these moves cost way too much money. Rankin's at that point where he's like 450K, George. Like what at this point? What?
Yeah,
it's even cost 50K to go to Horn Francis. Like yeah, I know it seems no brainer, but
I think like I've been owned him all year. Like it's a bit like all the antipods, apart from like Sinclair, that small blip earlier, like and Whitfield who played stupidly forward. Like a lot of them just like an antipod when you just know like they're not going to put in bad games. Or Horn Francis is one of them. And I know Rankin's just threatening to have bad games every week. I don't know.
You see that little arrow that's next to each player, like their price? Like my entire forward line is red arrow going down in price.
Yeah.
I just feel like the forwards, I'm just like, whatever I've got now, I'll get Sammy Darcy in this week and just that's whatever it is. Whereas like my mids have got green arrows, all the defenders probably for everyone's got green arrows. Like that's where I want to make sure I got the best premium because that's if I'm using one of my bloody last 4 trades, I feel like I want to make sure it's like getting because they're the top end, they're the top end guys. I still feel like Horn Francis could just all he'll do is 100 on the run home, and that like,
No, Horn Francis has been doing like
he played half forward against the D's. Like he didn't even play midfield.
Oh, was
at all.
he?
Yeah, 9% CBAs, George. Like,
oh really?
Obviously pushing up to stoppage, half forward. You know what it is. Like he still had 6-7 clearances. Like
I'm gonna wait one.
CBAs are never the be all, but I don't know. I feel like if I'm using one of my last trades, it's so I can ensure I've got one of the best mids, or I'm using him to get a best mid or defender that I don't have on the run home, not flip ranking to this guy or flip whatever. Like, I feel like the forwards are just like, they're all like 95 to 100. Besides Baz, who's cooked, we all have Luke Jackson, who we all can't afford, and probably same as Nico. If you don't have him, you're like, I'm not spending 600K on him. I can't do that. And it's like, we'll get Sam Darcy. Like, yeah, he's averaging 100 and whatever it is without the injury game, but it's like, that doesn't mean he's going to do it the rest of the year. We're all hoping he can, but it's like, just had a knee injury. Like, wouldn't be surprised if he did 90 on the run home because he's still a key forward. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Forward line for me is just like, I've got what I've got, and I don't know. Hopefully none of them get injured because I won't have any trades left. So,
Yeah.
I'm probably just talking myself into it, but yeah, you're right. All those defenders are cooking, and I'm the same. Don't have a GWS one. I know I've got both Saints boys, but it's like, don't have Bailey Dale. We're looking at down the barrel of like, he's got Richmond this weekend, George. He might have another 50. Like,
When is it going to end? Yeah.
is what it is. I guess that segues into probably what we don't want to talk about, and we just got a little thing here of top. We'll do 3 or 4 depending on the line, I guess, of premiums that you'd want to own on the run home, and it's like, as we just all talked about, we don't have that many trades to be flipping and doing all that if we aren't like sacrificing a 23rd or something like that. I know some people might be better positions, but I'd say most have what, George, like 6 to 7 trades, maybe 8. And then if you've got more than that, you're probably pretty happy if you still got a finished team coming up. Defenders, I mean, if you're putting a top 3, who would it be?
If he stays in the role, Whitfield.
Yep.
Sinclair, top 2.
Yep.
And then you can throw a blanket over Ash, Holmes, and Dale, I think. Maybe Rosie too, or she's like, yeah, I think those Sinclair, Whitfield, top 2. Maybe, I'm not sure. I guess Ash is doing 110. No reason why that wouldn't change.
I think Holmes is doing about 115 without the tags, maybe one, like something like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'm not saying I told you so because I didn't expect this from him either. But and he probably will get attention. Like, you think he's got Windhager coming up again, which he got him in round 2. But that Geelong fixture, man. That Geelong fixture. They're top 2. It's like
Saints, North. Oh my god.
Yeah,
it'll be a fun one to own.
So him is probably
it's him, and like there's a lot of mids that don't have massive running power at the moment. And
yeah, he's taking 2 running bounces every time he's getting the pill.
Yeah.
Not to mention he's got Baz there, who they can't do anything about. So yeah, I'm probably with you. Whitfield, if, as you said, Sinclair, and then probably put Holmes 3rd. But Bailey Dale might honestly sneak into that too, which would be a bad non-own. I mean, there's quite a few good ones. Like, I mean, we can't be anything more than happy with Geordie Clark over the year since I got him in. He's been great, but like, he's just not quite that one. He can't do like a run of 115, you know.
So he doesn't get fed like the other guys. That's the problem.
No.
But he's playing really well, but we'll take the 105. I think that's fine.
And there's always Nas, but it's like he just always will find a way to not go 130, 140 every week.
Maybe it's just maybe it's just a trend now that they said on one of the footy shows this week, like his like number 1 by far for like turnovers out of the back half.
Yep.
Like clear.
Finds a way
like
to get a few clangers guy. Every week.
I've been saying, like, if he clears that up, like a big one's around the corner, but it isn't happening. I feel like it's on the cards though. I think it'll click one game.
Let's do 4 mids, George, I reckon. Obviously, you own a few more in this game. If you had to pick 4 that you want, who would it be?
I think Butters 1.
Yep.
Andy 2. Almost tempted to say Ed over Bont, to be honest. Just one had the limited preseason, the other's just been flying. I don't want to get stuck in the moment because you got to remember Bont had the
It's Bont. He's still averaging more than Ed.
He threw up, he got tagged, he got the knock. So I think this game's almost a write-off for him. I'll say Ed and Bont is the next 2.
With the Dogs run, especially a lot of Marvel games, makes sense.
Yeah, and probably McLuggage not far off either.
Yeah, I think.
What about you? Top 4?
I probably can't argue with any. Like, I can't put anyone else in that top 4 that would make sense. Like, McCluggage would be the one I'd have to make an argument for, or George Hewitt. But it's like, I don't know. You know what they are. These other guys can probably go on a run of, and Clark, I guess, can go on a run of big scores, 130s. If Brizzy wins some games, he's getting heaps of score involvements this year. Just really improved most of his game. But I think that top four makes sense. Andy, Butters, still put Bond in there. He's gonna they got good fixtures. Bond's gonna put in some big ones you'd expect, unless he's carrying something. But yeah, I can't really make a big argument for anyone else. Obviously, Dacos. You'd always expect Dacos at some point, but just his year hasn't gone like that. He's getting a lot of attention. So I can't really see a big 120 run coming up for him.
No.
But, it's always possible, so never write it off.
Yeah. I think last year's average probably propped up. Scored 200 in the last game where Melbourne just rolled over. Their season ended round 23 last year. They had round 24. They were there in the flesh, but not in the spirit. Yeah. He got 200 anyway.
I feel like he'll have one more of those, like that Brisbane game 170. I think he has one of them in him. Still a West Coast in there, Richmond in there, that type of I think he has a big one left coming in him, especially if he's not getting attention. Nick, you know what Nick's like. You just go, today's the day I'm filling up. Finally no one's.
Teams just pull taggers out their arse that you wouldn't expect to tag him, so it's hard to predict.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so he'd be probably the main one I'd make an argument for. The rucks, it doesn't really need to be discussed. It's Cherry and Gorn.
Rowan.
I think I saw him say it's Sherry or something. Yeah, Rowan. Did I not warn people? I've owned Rowan before, maybe more than most, and he's just very, very frustrating.
He takes
what are you? How many times
you're watching Rowan? He must have the record for that.
Yeah, you know what I'm calling that? What the hell are you doing, man? I think if you watch Rowan as an owner or something, very, very close in the game, you'll be saying that 10 to 15 times.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing? And obviously we're all watching when you own someone from a scoring perspective. He's just all he thinks he's doing is grabbing out of the ruck and getting a clearance and gaining ground, which he is. But we're all like, what the hell are you doing when it hits the chest of the oppo every time? It seems like it's always every kick he does that. It's straight to opposition. And maybe part of that's their forward line, no Max King. Sometimes isn't the contests upfield aren't as good, and it's okay, but most of the time it's Rowan, man, what are you doing? And I'm sure all the fantasy players are going, hell yeah, he kicked it again. But in SuperCoach, you're not, because you're like, oh shit, where's it going?
He'll beat Gorn and Sherry in DT.
Fantasy comfortably, I know, because he gets 20 something touches, he gets marks, he gets tackles, but it's the kicks. When he has 10 kicks, you're like, none of these could hit the target, and you wouldn't be surprised.
I actually think he's the target for flex at 500k.
Yeah, I actually did think about it, but I'm like, damn, I don't think I want to do that to myself on the run home. And I'm not going for any great rank this year, so I think I'm like, you know what? Maybe we'll look at Rowan start next year and put myself through that next year for a cheap price
Briggs
or something.
Sherry. Not Briggs Darcy for 700k next year.
Oh yeah. I mean, for all we know, it'll just be gone again because he'll never stop. And then forwards, this, okay, maybe the top three forwards isn't as hard as who your top six are, because that might be a harder thing. But top three, who would you have? Or who would you want more so for the last 9 weeks?
Baz, Jackson, Martin.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Francis. I think they're clear top four.
Yeah, is it just that easy, those three? I think that's...
Jackson's got old Vigo this week, first gamer.
Is that solo ruck? Is Vigo solo ruck? You think Goldie's not playing?
I think they'll rest him a 5-day break. Put 2 meter in there a little bit.
They're throwing Vigo. There you go, mate. Is Jackson Darcy first game there? He'll be going, man, I don't want to ever play again. That's rough.
Go well, hopefully. Play the game of his life, please.
Yeah, I think it is that easy, George, for top three. It's more that's why I'm saying with the next three or whatever. It's I think it's whatever. I know you're saying Horn Francis.
I think Petrarch will be top 6.
Yeah, I'm not saying he won't be top 6. I just think
Maybe
those
Kennedy.
guys are all none of them are close to those top 3, are they? Really, the way they're going. So it's
where do you have Jack McRae at? I still have him. I would have held Horn Francis over McRae, but I traded Horn Francis round 3 like a moron.
Yeah.
Where would you have him?
I'm glad. I'm obviously glad I made that decision. I don't know with McRae. It's hard to read. He like popped two big ones way back at the start of the season. Is he just struggling a bit as the season's got on?
I'm
Like,
just like, I think there's a few games in there. There's a Hewitt tag, sort of like a George Hewitt, and there was a Bedford tag in there. And then there's games where he gets a heap of the ball, but the tackles and marks are down. Contested, like before he went down, do you know who was leading clearances?
probably Rowan for
It
Saints.
was
No?
Sarong and McRae.
Oh, you mean for
Before McRae went down.
AFL? The AFL.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just
So
looking, George. 80,
what's
78, 90, 96 CBAs, first 4 rounds. Since then, all 70.
that's fine. Like that's better than
I
most
know
of
it's
the other
fine,
forwards
but
we got.
is that why he was doing those big scores at
Well,
the start and not now? Like,
the TOG was low this week. I suspect, I think it was like 70% TOG, which is low for him. I suspect that was coming off the injury.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, he's hard to read, McRae. And the thing is, like, even he gives me like 85, I'm like,
I was going to say,
okay, there's
again,
probably more faith in Rankin and Warner at the moment. I think he'll do more than that. Like, he should piss in 95 with a 70% CBA roll.
yeah, that's my point. Those last few forwards you'll have, they'll all do 90, 95, and we're all probably praying they'll do 100. That's really what it is, I think.
Yeah.
And I even put Horn Francis in that because, yeah, I don't know. Those top three, as you said, if you have all three of those, you're laughing. I think most people probably have. Hopefully, yeah, obviously we all have Baz. So it's if you only have Baz of those top three, it's like probably, not looking too great on the run home because I don't know. How do you feel about Nico? Like his role is getting shifted a lot. It's a bit annoying, but he'll still do 95, 100 at worst, I think. So the
I'm not
upside's
calling
higher.
yeah. He does. He really puts a foot down on the easy teams because of his running power. But that doesn't mean he's down his skill. Still plays well against everyone. But
Yep.
like in the fourth quarter, weak team, he'll put the foot down. But yeah, it's a bit of halfback, bit of half forward, starts on the wing, starts on ball. I liked him on ball. I thought his contested game was pretty good. It's on SEN last Friday, and he was speaking about he trained inside mid in preseason. When the team needs him there, like he basically said his role is where the runner tells him what his role is mid game. That's how he changes role. It's interesting. So yeah, he just like togs high, scores wherever he wants. I'm very happy with this trade in, and it's gone better than I imagined. I'm glad he's sort of like I look at how shit my team is, specifically defense, and I think, well, this is the one low-owned player that can actually minimize a bit of the damage elsewhere. So I'm quite happy I have him. I don't care about the role. There's Richmond in a few weeks, 3 weeks, so
They're going to
tag's
again.
good in merit. Yeah, I know. I don't know why they played twice in 6 weeks. They play Richmond 5 teams in Richmond. Where I don't know how they work that out, but and yeah, he doesn't really leave the next 4 or the 5 in Melbourne, so it's not too bad. I don't care what his role is. I think on ball I'd prefer, especially with Durham out, but Merritt
The other
playing him
guys
90% halfback
play there.
maybe isn't the answer. So he's gone back in there. Parrish was getting his calf rubbed for a very long time, and he set out the game for, I reckon, the last 10, 15. Maybe they're just being conservative because it's Parrish, but
who knows? Setterfield's been good. Like you can't disgrace his effort, and Caldwell. But they have to play in there, right? So it's
I think
Nico. Where's the hole? You go there, mate, because he'll do well anywhere. So yeah, he'll be good in the run home. And Jackson, obviously, we all hate not the fact that he's just done almost 120 the whole year, and we'll never really looked his way because it's like, oh, this Shrek cloud, and Shrek's come back. It doesn't matter. They're just like starting Jackson in the ruck still, and then playing a bit on ball, and Shrek's togs low, and it's like, oh my god, what is this? It's a bit of a debacle, really, that whole situation. But they're winning at the moment, so
we're probably starting Jackson next year if they trade Darcy.
Of course. Will he still have? That'd be interesting. What his splits are across the whole year. It's probably. Would he have 30-something percent forward still?
Oh, that's true. Good question.
I mean, we'd probably still start him in the ruck, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Cheaper than the others. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we've already gone a bit long, George. So let's quickly shoot through the rookies and then some targets like Tom McCarthy, or what's his name? Is that his name? Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it
T
Tom?
Mac.
T-Mac, anyway.
Just get
Look,
him
he's
in.
on bye, so it's like, whatever.
Get him in.
Get him in if you want now, get him in next week. Just get him in.
For me, I'm
That's up to
finishing
you.
my team with 99 Ks. So he's
Yeah.
playing, he goes in. And my next trade in, I want like a DPP so I can flick him back and forth, defense mid.
Yep.
So wherever I need him, he can go there. So that's what will be my next rookie after that. Not sure
Oh, yeah.
whoever's on
That
the
makes
list,
sense.
I'll just pick him.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've sort of got Kurt. Yeah, doesn't matter for me. I got that seventh defender in the body flex. Jack Martin, look, interesting one. Hey, whatever. If you had the trades, or he's a bit elevated. Like, what is he? 150, I think.
Yeah.
He's there. If you already had McCarthy and you wanted someone else who maybe is an F7, will give you some scores if someone was out in the run home. Because look, I don't know how good his job security is, George. I'm not too sure, but he's playing a halfback role, so it's it's appealing.
His efficiency is 100% and 93%, and his TOG is 57 and 61.
Yeah,
there are worse. Like, he's probably the best F7 at that like discounted price.
wait, you said Tog was 57 and 61.
That's
Jeez,
what it says here. Yeah,
that's low. That's low-ish.
scored 80, 79 against Essendon, who
That's kind of upside, I guess.
got an
A
uncontested
little
ball.
Anyway,
yeah, look,
he's
I'm not
there.
interested.
Yeah,
No, I'm good.
I'm sure if I could get him, and if it was
If-
earlier in the year, I probably would have gone there, or 2 weeks ago over
Yeah.
Pedler maybe or something. But
By the way, Pedler, that sub was disgraceful.
you
I
think?
whinged about the
Yeah.
Crows, but that was shocking. I think like it was the first time I was like, okay, apart from the first two games, he was decent. Then I think he had like 3 touches one game when people brought him in, and the week after that wasn't that great either. But this game was actually making an impact getting into the game, and then they pulled the pin. And I know Nick's, he pre-plans his subs often. He's even said it in post game. So I think that didn't matter how well he was going, he was pulling the pin on him. And then Walker had like 1 touch in the last quarter. So I think if you have Pedler, you feel a little bit gypped because he shouldn't have been subbed, but that's how it goes.
And then there's a couple of GWS rooks. I could get Madden in this week because I'm getting in, finally ditching Archer Reed. Should have done that 2 months ago, but I might just. Briggs is back. Like, am I ever going to use his money? No. Will he? Like, it would be like, oh, he's my ruck cover if he manages to stay in. So I'll decide, but I might just need that 20k and go to a 99k random, like I think that Freo one instead of Madden. So it's not really relevant for most people. But he's there. And then Rowson, maybe the more relevant one. Like, does he looked really good? I've owned him in the past when he was a rookie, maybe even 2 years ago. I'm not even sure. He's just been toiling away in the twos. Can't get into that GWS midfield. Gets a game this week and full game in the guts, and he played really, really well. So against Brisbane too, like that's one of the best midfields in the comp. Checking his CBAs, what were they, George? 63. There you go. How does it look though? Who's out? What's the go? Like,
he's looking at VFL scores.
Is that what it is? Bedford, after he's couldn't tag Butters last week. Bedford played full game forward this week.
Well, that's the CB. He was getting like he would have been almost leading the CBA's Bedford. So maybe that's it. I really don't know what they're thinking.
That's weird. So what happened here actually? Because Finn was back straight into 88%. Who sort of lost him? I guess they just sort of stopped rotating those like Darcy Jones types, and Brent Daniels, I guess, was getting a
what was
bit.
Josh Kelly's?
Nothing, mate. 0.
Yeah,
Bedford Kelly 0, and then Green, Callahan 80s. Rowson was third.
Yeah, I mean, it's one way you back him in. Like, I think his second half didn't do much in the second half. I think sub risk is there. I mean, at this point, I'm like, it's going to be too long to wait for his money.
Yeah, I'm saying more just a bench rookie, someone that on a bench might actually play and provide cover if needed. That's all.
He could get you a score this week. I think if it's that, I think it's okay to go for that. Like, I really have no read on his job security, to be honest.
It's probably just if you had McCarthy already, is he the next best? To trade in if you needed to trade in a rookie, probably is
Tim or Martin.
him or Martin,
They've got
whichever line you
Geelong have
need.
injuries down back. They got 2 tolls
Yeah.
injured.
We spoke enough about ranking. We did have a little trade hold thing here, but I mean, for me, I'm hold, and I guess George, your trade if you don't
Hate
have
the
Hort
role.
Francis. But
I think he should be able to do 90 though, because just watching him, it's just a lot of everything he touches lately is just a mistake.
he's too good for me not to turn it around.
Yeah. I think it's partially role, it's partially form. I think the role probably sticks, which lowers the ceiling, but I think the form will turn and you got Melbourne. I don't actually think Melbourne are that bad, to be honest. But
You
you
got
got
you got
Richmond
us.
there,
Yeah.
kids. Look, I'm cool at the price. Yeah, it's like a sell low, like selling low. It has never worked in the history of this game.
It's too late.
Anyway,
He's
I don't think it's
dropped.
a falling knife like a Stewart for the first 10 weeks. Has actually turned it around now. It actually looks good. But anyway, yeah, I think it's not top 6, luxury trade only.
Yeah. It's just if you had heaps of trades, sure. You probably got to spend cash though to get.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like as I said, you can't get Jackson or Martin, so throw them out. Who is that other one you could get?
It's one Francis McRae.
Okay,
Darcy.
let's okay. So it's Darcy. Are people flipping ranking to Darcy for costing 20K? Is that a good use of a trade?
Probably not.
I don't think it is. All right, some targets. So you've been saying you're trading in Nas for 3 or 4 weeks. Are you doing it, George, or is he just gone now?
Well, I have to wait for Sheldrick. Well, because of I don't want to cry too much this pod. I think I've done it for like 20 minutes, but the Philippou and Lindsay money that's negative 60K. That has stung. So it's going to cost me an extra trade now to get up to Nas. So what I'm going to do, I might just wait for Whitfield post buy. Because Sheldrick's got 0 break even. So he's got 2 weeks of 110 in his system. So I might just wait it out for 2 weeks.
Pray he keeps a roll in the midfield and see how much he can get up. Yeah, makes sense. Butters, if you didn't get him for whatever reason this week or last week, I mean, yeah, he'll be over 600K again. I assume again. Sorry. Soon. I know people worried about like maybe Jordan this week, maybe Chincotta. People like, oh,
Chincotta I'm worried about. Jordan not so much.
I'm not worried about too many. Like,
you want him for the rest of the year anyway, so I think
exactly. It's Zach Butters. I know, buddy. Mullen got him somehow, but I don't know. He cooked Bedford something ridiculous 2 weeks ago. I'll just back him in, man. As I said, I think last week I'm more worried about him injuring himself.
I think Paul got a few home games now, and they could actually sneak into the 8.
Yeah, not with the percentage, but they got to win a few games.
It's gonna be tough, but like it's not like they're gonna give up on the season. They're gonna be doing everything they can. I know that's a stupid comment, but
yeah, no, that's fair.
Few vulnerable teams in the next 4 or 5 weeks.
They still got a lot of talent, Port. It's just they just haven't clicked all year. And the whole Ken thing, I'm sure you're all over it over there. It's just like can't be good for like just a footy team trying to play consistent footy. Like anyway, that's
I think they're pretty bulletproof. The big 3 or 4 there. I guess you can almost put Bergman in that 4, but yeah, the main 3. They're pretty bulletproof. Whatever happens there, or they're going to be.
They're proud footballers.
10 years. Yeah.
Bont's an interesting one, George. I know a lot of you guys that trade him in for 640 are going to hate this conversation, but this man might be 530 in a week or like in 2 weeks. And of course he won't because he'll come out this week and pop a 160 against Richmond and it'll be like, this is why we got him. Of course, that's probably going to happen. And I'm going to be sitting there going, shit. But if he just goes a couple tons the next 2 weeks, maybe even a bit more, like he will be like 540, let's say 550. Like, I'm not going to have the trade. Like, do I save this trade on Dunks and do I wait and see if Bont gets low and I can try and flip Dunks to Bont or something? Like, is that the smarter play here? Chera's 550. Like in 2 weeks, do I flip bloody Chera? Like I'm none of these trades.
Nah, don't trade Chera. Mate,
I get it.
Yeah.
But who is it? Like it can't be the other mids I've got really. Like maybe.
Well, would you just hold Dunks for a week? I know Bont's got Richmond this week, but he's got 180 break even.
And see what happens? Or do I go
Would
for
you-
Hewitt and against North? And
Would you rather Bont or Hewitt?
I know what the answer is, and it's Bont. I think if he's
Wait a week.
if he's not injured,
I think he's
wait a
fine.
week. But then, I'm not getting George next week. Then like let's get George now against North. 74 break even. So I'm not getting him any other week. I was going to get George if Walsh didn't get injured. I probably would have bloody got George. I don't know. That backfired.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get your point. It's Bond, obviously. What if he goes 160 this week and doesn't drop any money?
It's hard to predict 1 week though.
Of course, we tried to.
Half my trade-ins are like, what if they go big and then I get them in, they don't go big, and then
of course, no one can predict it. No one can predict it. We did tell everyone, why the hell would you go Butters this week? He's got Bedford, and then he drops a 140 and doesn't drop any money. I get it. You can't predict that shit, but I don't know if I think, what do I have? Like I barely have any. I think I have 10K left flipping Dunks to George this week.
So your options are you flip. You can either hold Dunks a week and wait for Bont to come down with a 180 break even.
And if he doesn't,
you can just go
I won't
George
be able to do it anyway. Yeah, or I can just go George now.
Oh, okay. So it's like a cash thing.
Well, yeah, I only have 5K in the bank right now doing the George trade this week, and he's got a 70 break even. And what's Dunks' break even?
How does that work? You got 5K in the bank.
Yeah, post trades.
Isn't Hewitt 30K more than Dunkley?
Yes, so I'm spending that. Yeah. Okay, like what you're saying. Okay, 30K. Cool. Does it still mean? Okay, so if I reverse it back, it's 35K, whatever that is. Is that still enough to go Dunks to Bont? They're 80K right now.
It's going to take an extra trade. Yeah,
exactly. So I think I'm just going to do that. And
Hewitt in 1 or Bont in 2.
I'm not doing 2. I can't do 2.
Yeah,
cannot do 2. Anyway, that's for me. Then we should talk about Mills. He's going to be one of the more traded in players this week. I really don't know about this anymore, George. We just spoke about all those Sydney, like Gordon and Papley being tests. You know, not a lot of people own Heaney, but a few of us left that own Roberts. A lot of people own Chad. I think it's 60, 70%, something like that. It's a bit murky. I don't know if I'd be I know it's now. He's on the bubble. He's just played, what was it, in 100 and something in defense before the bye.
Even if he does get CBAs, how many is he getting in that team? Like, I know he's probably at their best player, but it hasn't been that way for a few years now.
Yeah.
Probably not better than Prime Heaney last year, but
I say Heaney or Errol when he's not injured.
Yeah. I think for the price, what's a realistic expectation? Like 95 to 100?
I think Callum on the park will do 90 something wherever it doesn't matter where he plays. And it's like, if it's full-time backline, maybe 95. If it's full-time mid, you can probably say over 100. Yeah. But he's been thrown on the wing in the past. Like, I don't know what the hell Dean Cox is going to do. There's too many players to fit into, 4, maybe 5 mid roles plus all these half-backs. Like Cunningham's back in the team now, half-back. You got Blakey, you got this bystander.
They don't move.
I don't know
they don't
anything.
Move for Mills. They move for Mills. Mills doesn't move for no one, I don't think.
But he's also the guy that can play in multiple of those positions.
That's true, yeah.
So it's like, where's J-Mac go to the win?
My expectation is somewhere in the 90s. And if that's what you need to finish your team and you can only get to 350K, I'm fine going there.
Who would you rather own, McKercher or Mills for the next 10 weeks?
I don't see Mills getting 35 off halfback.
I would say McKercher too. That's why I did the Kirch trade last week. I was aiming for Mills, and then obviously McKercher sort of popped up, and I'm like, I'll take this instead because if he can do much, much more, I think, off halfback with that role than what Mills can do.
The way I explain it all the time. I just think, what has he done under similar conditions last year? He did 108, 105 in this role, McKercher. Is that going to change this year? One game where he's horrific efficiency in the wet. Is that going to change my expectation? No, maybe we should temper it a little bit because maybe the kick-ins were a little bit higher last year. and there is no real intercepting or spoiling at the moment. I think it's starting to grow into it a little bit last year, but it's not there at the moment. So maybe there's a little bit of scope there, but I think maybe a more realistic target for Kirch might be 95. But I guess he's been fit all year, unlike Mills. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think both probably similar average.
Okay. Then you say Mills has that injury risk, probably, especially for you, Jules. That's a factor. And then I guess the forward line, these last few options, a lot of us are finishing that maybe this week. I've seen people who still need like 3 forwards, like 2 even. But I need my last one.
Okay.
Shut the hell up.
Yeah. My band from talking about him, I guess so.
Anyway. So Sammy Darcy, Horn Francis, like you said, for those who don't have him, and then you've thrown Kennedy, who's sitting here as well, who just all year is just under the radar. Like, have you seen him in fantasy? I think he's like in the whole of fantasy, like top 8. Is that right?
I paid for him this week. It was like nearly 1.1 million.
Yeah, I was looking on Sports Deck going, I need like my forwards suck. I'm getting rid of Rankin. I'm getting rid of Buddy. Like they're all doing terrible in AF. I'm like, I'll get Kennedy, and then I looked. I'm like, dude, in the whole of the game, I'm pretty sure he's like top 8, like all positions, something like that. He's averaging like 103, 104, something like that. Where is he? Okay, maybe not that high. 103. So anyway, that's like top 15 in. You can discount a couple of these. Yeah,
more than Nate Dacos.
Same as Ash. Same as a little bit like one less than Cherry. Caldwell's a top 8 mid as well, like top 6 mid in that.
Yeah.
Anywho, is it just Horn Francis for you, simple as that, or is it this injury thing throw up a bit of a worry? So you're waiting a
maybe
week.
Not this week. Just being conservative based on the footage we saw, but it'll be fine.
Yep.
Horn Francis, Kennedy, and Darcy.
Kennedy before Darcy.
Let's follow the roll. Yeah.
Yep.
I think, if there's, I've tried to avoid key forwards in the past, but this is probably the most tempted I've been since Hawkins, for sure.
It is very.
I think we all know the talent level and stuff. I saw him live in Norwood, and he just puts his hands up and it just goes clunk. Can't stop him.
Yeah, and the fact that I own Eddie, and I know you, a lot of people own Bond, but it's like, man, it's good to watch. All those
25 30 points in one play for you.
Just kick it up, lob it up there, and far out. He's ridiculous. Kennedy just seems like
on there this week.
Bit of a boring pick. Well, as I said, actually, if I don't do this Dunks to Hewitt trade, I can afford Kennedy over Darcy. I'm going Darcy, man. What the hell? Like, I'm 3K ranked. Yeah. I think a lot of people probably thinking like that, but it's true. Like,
bit of rough time as well.
Man. Good to watch. Yeah, a little bit, I guess. I'll probably be sitting here in a couple of weeks. Hopefully not, but going, oh shit. He's going crap.
Just on key forwards, like
will they rest him a week off this? Like, will they go? Oh, we'll just give him a week off. Is Jamara coming back? I don't know.
No, I think Tomara said he's 1,000 to 1 to play AFL this morning.
Was he giving odds to that? Where can I bet?
Gary Lyon's like, can I put 10 on that?
Did he actually?
Yeah, he did.
Tenner.
Just on key forwards, we know that he's been very consistent, but we know you got to ride the down games. Even if it's 2 and 3 in a row, you have to ride them because it's just how key forwards work.
Yeah.
The fixture's nice, though, Richmond this week. Who's playing on him? Ben Miller?
Probably, yeah.
Ben Miller's not that tall either, I don't think.
Yeah, he's deep. Okay, doesn't matter. Does it matter, George?
Anyway.
The tallest and best defender in the league can't reach where Sammy can. So, yeah, Kennedy will be more consistent in his scoring, like you said. But yeah, Sammy's just cooked. Could have a few big ones.
Yeah.
Like, look at Cadman, like on the weekend, 5 or 6 contested marks. Just absolutely dominated. Like, Sammy will have a couple of those games on the run home. But yeah, it's going to be a roller coaster. All right, George's been going an hour. We always still, towards the end of the year, we wouldn't be going an hour still, but we always find a way. Trades, what are you doing? Are you sitting tight? Yeah.
Sitting on 6 with 22. and 22 premiums if you include McKercher. Well, I was going to do ranking on Francis. He's got the high break even, so we're going to sit on it and just assess. I think I'm committed to holding Dunkley, and my last upgrade, I think it's going to be Whitfield. It's going to the plan was to do it in 2 trades. It's going to cost me 3 because of the Philippou debacle. Well, I can get Carroll and Clark and Sheldrick, and that'll get me like 60, 70k plus Whitfield. So I think we're just going to sit.
And then you'll be down to
3 with money. And then I might, if McKercher starts going shit, I'll do him to Juan Francis.
Okay, so you're not doing the ranking to... Okay.
Well, yeah, as we said, speaking about the fixture, it's just that sometimes the play is hold and hope.
He'll come good, George. You know, yeah. Is he carrying
an injury? It's a form issue. Yeah, not that I know of.
Yeah, you haven't heard anything. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah,
it is a frustrating watch sometimes, some clangers here and there, but it'll click at some point. You want it to anyway, heading into finals.
I think it's just the role is not. It's a lot of sitting deep forward, but even then, he should be.
I was going to say he's done good in the past. Like had some good games in the past. Yes, it'll be up and down. With that
it needed to be done when he was 500. Now he's 440. It's like
too late.
Sheldrick's going to catch him in 3 weeks. Anyway, what are the trades?
So finally, Archer, I've got like 140 in the bank before this week, I think. Actually, no, 182 because I had to trade Walsh out instead of Roberts. So I guess the positive is that I had more money. So finally, Archer Reed down, get 100 and whatever K that is to a 99K. That gives me 240, and I'm throwing that, or 2 something, and I'm throwing that on Peddler's Head, and luckily that gets me to Darcy. So I'm still holding Simpson as most of us are, and I've still got Berry, so it had to be Peddler. When I got him in, I knew he had to go out to get my last forward. And
how much is he?
And it was a bit risky in that sense. Only 209 or something. All we got was 60k out of it, whatever. So it's better than nothing. And then, yeah, my team's very weird, but practically I've just got Sheldrick as my 23rd, but he's at M8, not flex. So it's, him and McCarthy, M8, down to 3. Well, that was down to 4 trades. And then, as I said, do I do this Dunkley to Hewitt thing? I'm not sure. That puts me down to 3 trades, Jaws, and it's a bit low. Because let's say I don't do that and I keep 4, then I could wait for Carroll, who's actually making money now, some bloody how, and then do Carroll and Sheldrick to whoever and a rookie in a couple weeks, and then I'll have 23 and 2 trades left. So probably isn't smart. I'll probably hold dunks and just do the boring route. Wait for Shelley to make a bit more. Wait for Carroll to get to whatever he gets to, and go down to 2 trades probably after the bye. And I mean, maybe I could just throw another defender in the midfield and get Whitfield or something. Have 8 defenders and.
Whitfield last year was like 125 post bye. I think he's the one. If the role's right, that's gonna.
Okay, so he's got the
Daniels get injured again?
Yeah. But they got Finn back.
Yeah, okay.
Whitfield didn't touch the midfield this week. Nowhere near. 100% defense. So
what's the break even? He's the one that.
And they gave Rouston a game, so you'd think he stays there now, surely.
That's a good point. 96 break even. So even if he goes stupid, he's still going to be like 560, 565 if he does like 150.
I'll have to see if I can. That'll
West Coast
get you there. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we have to get in that week if we're doing this.
And Essendon.
I need Sheldrick and Carroll the next 2 weeks to make some money. Whitfield will only play 1 game this week and then a bye. Hopefully not go too nuts. Probably does. I think Gold Coast people score pretty well on them, don't they? I can't remember.
Zorko loves that ground.
But like it's running that, like if I can't get to him, then I'll just have to choose someone else if the cash doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'll have to see what that does. And then I'll be stuck with dunks. Would love to have Hewitt on the way home. I think if you can, that's like if you've got all your forwards, if whatever you need a midfielder this week, I think Hewitt's got to be my number 1 at that price for anyone out there who needs a mid. So Yeah, captains, George. It is a bit of a weird week. We got Cherry versus TDK. We got Geelong versus Brisbane on a Friday night. That'll be a good game. Down at GMHBA though, so you think Geelong get that one done. Nick's getting a tag. Butters, people will always be scared of him getting a tag.
Sherry into Bont close out.
Dogs player is the captain, yeah. And I guess you're right, Cherry against TDK can still go pretty well. So yeah, I guess I'll probably have Eddie captain. It'd be a bit weird, but we'll see. And probably VC. I don't know. This the wrong at the right back on a Thursday night against Essendon.
A ban is a ban.
I mean, Essendon don't have a. Okay, yep, sure, whatever. All right, we'll just see what he does. What on Andy though? If you have Andy, surely.
Yeah, I got a dumb rule. I don't VC mids or 5-day breaks, so I'm just gonna stick to that for better or for worse.
Sorry, I forgot about that.
Enjoy.
All right. We've talked enough about round 14. We'll see how we go. 2 more buy-ins left, and we'll chat to you next week. Thanks for listening, guys. Cheers.